एक अलग सा मतलब डर सा लग रहा था, मतलब हर जगह डिफेंस के लोग खड़े थे, आर्मी के लोग खड़े थे। अब माहौल ही ऐसा हो गया था कि दंगे के कारण हमारा पूरा ध्यान जो था हमारा इसी चीज़ पे था, मतलब सब्जेक्ट से बिल्कुल अलग हो गया था। इससे हमारे पढ़ाई का बहुत लॉस हुआ था। तो इसी चीज़ के बारे में हमारा पेपर में मतलब ज़्यादा खास नहीं गया, जैसा जाना चाहिए था, जिस हिसाब से तैयारी करके गए थे उस हिसाब से बिल्कुल नहीं हुआ।
दंगे की साए की वजह से इतनी डर में थे, कुछ जो पूरे साल तैयारी करी थी पेपरों की कुछ दे ही नहीं पाए, परफॉर्मेंस अपनी जो करना चाहते थे पेपरों में कुछ कर ही नहीं पाए।
पूरे दिन पैनिक रहना, इतना हार्मफुल माहौल था, इतना सब थ्रेटनिंग्स भरा हुआ था, बहुत डर लग रहा था पढ़ने में, कंसंट्रेट करने में भी थोड़ी दिक्कत हुई थी।
The neighborhood of northeast Delhi today wears a peaceful look. Life goes on as it should. But things were very different in the last week of February earlier this year. Anusha was preparing for her 10th board exam. Her parents were worried.
वो सिचुएशन आई याद करी जाए तो बहुत अच्छा। इट वॉज रियली स्केरी मोमेंट फॉर द फैमिली। और हम लोग तो क्या था, हमारे तो समझ में नहीं आता कि हम बच्चों को किस तरीके से समझाएं, क्योंकि सिचुएशन ऐसी हो गई थी उस टाइम। बच्चों को ये कहें कि पढ़ो तो बच्चे पढ़े कैसे, और बाहर की तरफ से कोई शांति नहीं, बाहर की तरफ से कोई ना कोई, कभी कोई ऐसा की आवाज है कि वो लोग आ रहे हैं, आ गए, कभी कोई चिल्ला के भी सड़क पे चला जाता था तो पूरी कंसंट्रेशन उनकी तरफ ही चली जाती थी। तो मतलब इस तरह की चीजें बहुत रही हैं।
Aman was nervous and the animosity in the neighborhood didn't help as the 15-year-old appeared for the first big exam of his life.
ये बच्चा 10th में मतलब जो दंगे हुए थे उस दौरान इन्होंने क्या क्या फेस करा, बहुत मेंटली प्रॉब्लम से ये बालक गुजरे हैं, और पढ़ाई पे इनका इतना मतलब जो तैयारी थी, और दंगे के दौरान जब एग्ज़ाम हुए, जैसे कि उन्होंने बताया 26 फरवरी को उसका पहला एग्ज़ाम था, और शायद दंगे की डेट भी यही थी, लगभग यही डेट थी। मतलब इतना प्रेशर था, जब ये एग्ज़ाम भी देने जा रहा था स्कूल में तो हमें ये डर था कि किस तरह से हम इसको उस स्कूल में सेंटर पे भेजें इसको एग्ज़ाम के लिए।
CBSE went on to cancel all pending exams and brought out the results in July, bringing a sense of closure for these children of riot-hit Delhi. But for Mohammad Rashid, it's been an uphill task to rebuild his and the lives of others around him. He has shops in the tire market in this locality. It was gutted in the riots.
मार्केट को कम से कम 50-60 लाख रुपए लगता है सही कराने, सही में। हाँ जी बिल्कुल, जैसे पहले थी वैसी वो बात नहीं है, इसमें भी आने में समय लगेगा इस चीज में।
28-year-old Arinder Kumar has been buying tires from Zaki Tire for the past decade. The riots put a temporary stop to his visit to this market, not for long, however.
मैं आता हूँ, बचपन से आता हूँ, हमारे रिलेशन है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है यहाँ पर, ठीक है ना। वो सब धारणा है कुछ राजनीतिक पार्टियों की, और कुछ ऐसे लोग होते हैं कि पॉलिटिकल बैकग्राउंड होते हैं जिन लोगों के, वो लोग गलत फायदा उठाते हुए लोगों को उल्टा परेशान करते हैं।
5 लाख से ऊपर का नुकसान हो गया हमारे एक दुकान का, जो 2 शॉप है।
अच्छा, दोनों की मरम्मत करवाई आपने?
हाँ दोनों की, आप देखिए ना, दोनों की हर चीज दोबारा बनवाई है। हमारे नजर में जो यहाँ कस्टमर भी आता है, चाहे वो हिंदू हो, कोई सा ही मजहब का, सब प्यार मोहब्बत से रहते हैं।
The market where I am standing was gutted in fire almost 5 months back when the northeast part of the national capital was burning because of riots. There are 224 shops here. 90% of them were left with nothing but just ashes. But now, 5 months later, it seems like life is slowly coming back to normalcy. Most of the shopkeepers said they have to spend lakhs to get their shops repaired. The market is functional, but they believe that it will take some more time for the relations between the Hindus and the Muslims who stay here to be back to the way it was before the rioting took place on the 23rd and 24th of February in 2020.
90% of the tire market, with its 224 shops, was set on fire in the last week of February 2020. It took 5 months to restore it back. The nearby petrol pump too was set on fire. Mohammad Hamid is a tailor in the neighborhood. He suffered losses of around 6 lakh rupees when his shop was ransacked.
हम लोगों की दुकानें लूटी हैं, सारा कुछ हम ही लोगों के घर जले, हम ही लोगों में से मारा गया, हम ही लोगों को पीटा गया। जो पुलिस बता रही है इस चीज को, वो एक तरफ का एक उल्टा बता रही है। बाकी हमें यह है, न्यायपालिका पर पूरा भरोसा है इस चीज का, जो होगा वो सच्चाई सामने आएगी, ऐसा नहीं है।
While commerce is trying to normalize in this scarred locality, families that have lived side by side for decades as neighbors are still trying to heal and trust each other. The police investigations and charge sheets have dealt a blow to the building of this trust. Within 4 days of the worst ever communal violence in the national capital in 4 decades, 53 people were killed, hundreds were left injured, and scores of people rendered homeless. Almost 5 months later, 751 FIRs and 200 charge sheets have been filed, 1,430 people arrested. This as of July 11th. Out of the total 751 cases, the Special Investigation Team of the Delhi Police Crime Branch is investigating into 59 of them. Till 11th of July, 337 arrests were made and 43 charge sheets were filed. The local police investigating 691 cases arrested 1,079 people till July 11th and 157 charge sheets were filed. Investigation is also underway by the special cell in one case, that of the larger conspiracy, and no charge sheet has yet been filed in that case. According to the police, smartphone videos, WhatsApp chats, CCTV footage, as well as media coverage helped track phone locations, arrest the culprits, and unlock conspiracies behind some of the killings.
India Today took a look into the various charge sheets that have been filed by the Delhi police into these riots and has found that the police believe that the riots were not in fact a spontaneous outburst of violence but were planned on both sides. In addition, the charge sheets have drawn a timeline and link of causation between the anti-CAA protests that began in December last year to the violence that shook Northeast Delhi.
Starting from the anti-CAA protests in Jamia Millia Islamia University in December 2019, the police has drawn a timeline of protests and clashes between anti-CAA protesters, police and pro-CAA groups in the capital, which they allege finally led to the conflagration on 24th of February. In several charge sheets, the SIT has used identical language to claim that the flames were deliberately fanned out and riots were planned to coincide with the visit of US President Donald Trump. The police say a slow but sure build-up with misinformation about controversial Citizenship Amendment Act incited the Muslims to violence. Meanwhile, anger and desire for revenge have been cited as reasons for violence from the Hindus. The police also allege that the conspiracy was hatched on the night of 23rd of February with an intention to cause confrontation with authorities and instigate sentiments of the people.
Piecing together the stories from various charge sheets, it seems that on 23rd February evening, a secret meeting was held between the anti-CAA protesters, PFI, Pinjra Corps, JCC, etc., where people were warned to prepare for violence. On 24th morning, as stone pelting on the police began, the pro-CAA protesters and persons from Hindu neighborhoods also got involved, leading the situation out of hand. By 25th evening, a WhatsApp group named Hindu Kattar Ekta was formed, where the conspiracy to kill Muslims was hatched, leading to the murder of 9 men at the Pulia.
While the charge sheets blame prominent local leaders and activists for inciting anti-CAA protests, which led to agitation amongst Muslims, no politician or local leader has been named in cases of violence by Hindus against Muslims. The charge sheet filed by the Delhi police in the Delhi riots case seem to have raised more questions than they have answers. On 17th of July, a group of 72 eminent citizens that included very senior retired civil servants wrote to President Ramnath Kovind seeking a commission of inquiry into the manner of investigation of the Delhi riots. The letter raised serious questions including about police complicity in the riots, about the absence of any action on complaints received against BJP leaders inciting mobs, and also about custodial torture. In one of the charge sheets, a witness clearly blames BJP leader Kapil Mishra and his men for inciting violence and rioting, but the police has not taken cognizance of Kapil Mishra's role anywhere. While no FIR has been filed against Kapil Mishra, in its latest affidavit before the court on July 14th, the Delhi police claimed it has found no actionable evidence of hate speech so far.
Three main politicians. The first was a minister for state in the central government. The second was a member of parliament, Rajya Sabha, and the third was an MLA. And of course there were many other persons, and they recited a very provocative slogan, "Desh ke gadaro ko maro, goli maro sale ko." Police are now telling us we are not going to charge sheet them because they did not instigate the riots. They said a slogan, but there was no instigation.
The only political leader that finds mention in the police charge sheet is the ousted AAP leader Tahir Hussain. Police claims he has not only arranged funds, logistics and manpower to execute the riots, but also conspired to kill IB official Ankit Sharma. Sharma was murdered outside Tahir's residence in Khajuri Khas area by a mob.
Rather, he is the victim of his circumstances, being a member and councillor of a political party, that is Aam Aadmi Party, and he is not at all involved, and it is rather additional DCP has said on the TV that he was saved along with his family members and took them to a safe place. So on 25th or 26th, on the day of riots, he was not at all there, and no direct evidence, even mobile location, does not relate him with any riots.
The letter to the president also questioned the criminalization of anti-CAA protests by linking it to the riots and the harassment of anti-CAA protesters during interrogation. The indictment of activists like Harsh Mandar and Yogendra Yadav, among others, for misinforming Muslims has also raised questions about the contents of the charge sheets. So has the arrest of anti-CAA women activists and booking them under the draconian UAPA. Activists such as Safura Zargar, Devangana Kalita and Natasha Narwal during COVID lockdown and the denial of bail to them. After about 3 months in jail, a pregnant Safura was finally granted conditional bail.
Almost 5 months after the Northeast Delhi riots, the controversies continue. In a scathing report, the Delhi Minorities Commission has said that the police failed to take proper action during the violence, and there was deliberate targeting of Muslim homes, shops and livelihoods, which the police failed to prevent. In addition, the Delhi government and the centre are currently locked in a tussle to decide on who will be prosecuting the hundreds of cases that have come up after these riots. Whether the centre will appoint a special prosecutor or, as the Delhi government wants, the Delhi government standing councils will take over.
Everything was burning outside. There was rioting and mayhem, but unlike many families in the area who had to run for shelter to the Eidgah, Mohammad Yusuf found a friend in need in his neighbor.
शाम को जब सारे दंगाई इधर को गुजरे तो बच्चों ने देखा उनके हाथों में नंगी तलवारें थी और वो पूरे नारे लगाते आ रहे थे। तो बच्चे डर गए, भागे आए, कहने लगे मम्मी यहाँ से भागो, यहाँ तो कभी भी हमला हो सकता है। तो फिर मैं कहने लगी इस टाइम हम कहाँ जाएं, इधर से चारों तरफ से वो हो रहा है। तो फिर मैंने कहा मैं तो सुनीता है, मेरी फ्रेंड है, पड़ोस भी है, उनके यहाँ जाऊंगी। मैंने उन्हें फोन किया, वो कहने मैं तो तुम्हें लेने खुद आ रही थी, बाहर के हालात देख के मैं खुद सोच रही थी तुम्हारा, तो हमें लेने आई और हमें लेके गई। और वो रात हमने उनके वहीं खाना वाना खाया, रात हमने वहाँ सब बैठ के गुजारी सबने साथ।
56-year-old Mohammad Yusuf and his family were lucky. After 6 decades of living in Gopalpur, his family was saved by their neighbor. It was the end of February. The rather calm winter season of the national capital was slowly fading away. Throughout the winters, Delhi had seen many protests. But the most remarkable had been the sit-in protests by women against CAA and NRC in Shaheen Bagh. Shaheen Bagh had emerged as the center of politics and possibly an icon for some. Following this icon, a similar protest was set to be staged, not in the bylines of the city's posh South Delhi or Lachin's Delhi, but in Northeast Delhi, an area that has over the years emerged as a migrant hub, where many come to live their big city dream and find a corner for themselves. On February 22nd, a group largely comprising of women sat down to protest peacefully against the CAA. They occupied one of the carriageways under the Jafrabad metro station. The next afternoon, in adjoining Mojpur, a BJP politician, Kapil Mishra, organized a rally. He demanded that the protesters be removed from the site.
सबके बिहाफ में ये बात कह रहा हूँ, ट्रंप के जाने तक तो हम शांति से जा रहे हैं, लेकिन उसके बाद हम आपकी भी नहीं सुनेंगे अगर रास्ते खाली नहीं हुए तो। ट्रंप के जाने तक आप जाफराबाद और चांदबाग खाली करवा लीजिए, ऐसी आपसे विनती कर रहे हैं। उसके बाद हमें रोड पे आना पड़ेगा।
Soon after Kapil's message being circulated through social media, stone pelting began in the area. By evening, groups opposing and supporting the CAA and NRC were squaring off, and heavy police deployment was seen in the area.
हमने सिर्फ मार खाई है और गिरते रहे और कोई मर गया, कोई लापता हो गया।
हम लोग अपनी जान बचा के भागे यहाँ से। बच्चों को देखें, बच्चे रो रहे हैं, छोटे छोटे बच्चे, उन लोगों को दीवारों पे से कूद के भागे।
By the night of February 23rd, an uneasy calm prevailed, but it was the calm before a storm. Next morning, Mojpur had erupted in violence. By 12:30 p.m., a mob assembled in Jafrabad near AAP councillor Tahir Hussein's residence. There were reports of petrol bombs being thrown, stone pelting and firing of other weapons from the councillor's residence. Putting a question on his role in the unrest. By 1 p.m., the mob attacked police personnel including the DCP and ACP. A head constable succumbed to injuries and the DCP of Shadra range was injured in the clashes. Passers-by were also attacked. Around 2 p.m., 2 schools in the area were attacked. Later in the night, a tire market in Gokulpuri area with predominantly Muslim community-owned businesses was set ablaze. The next day, 25th of February, the violence spiraled out of control. The mob started again around 10:30 a.m. and several instances of violence, looting and arson were reported. By the time curfew was imposed in some areas of northeast Delhi, the death toll had already reached 13. At around 5 p.m, an IB staffer, Ankit Sharma, was killed. His body was recovered from a nearby drain. At night, the Delhi High Court called an emergency hearing to enable emergency services and fire tenders to ply in the neighborhood. As the violence kept getting out of hand, the Delhi police issued shoot-at-sight orders to control the situation. On February 26th, the police conducted flag marches in some areas, but witnesses of the violence questioned the police's role.
बिल्कुल परसों तो पुलिस थी नहीं, हम 100 नंबर पर फोन कर रहे हैं, भाई साहब यहाँ पूरा हम लोग तोड़ फोड़ हो रहा है, 2 घंटे बाद पुलिस वाला आया जन्मात, हम लोग को तो लगे कि जान बचेगी नहीं, ऐसे जन्मात सवाल हो गया था यहाँ पे, पुलिस वाले भी घायल हुए।
Initial assessments by the Delhi Chamber of Commerce estimated the economic loss to be around 25,000 crore rupees. Many people had to flee their homes and take shelter in nearby areas. The violence faded away, but it left many people struggling for survival.
It's been 5 months since the deadly Delhi riots claimed many lives. Slowly but surely, life is returning to normalcy. Most of the buildings that you see which were gutted in fire have also now been rebuilt. Most of the businesses are also booming. Most of them have in fact opened their doors back to the customers. However, people here believe that the investigation which has been done by the police is very one-sided. The police in its charge sheet has said that there was a systematic build-up to the riots and it was the Muslims who started the rioting and Hindus only gathered in self-defense. Most of the people believe that the tensions between the two communities in this area, the Hindus and the Muslims, still exist and it will take time for those tensions to go away.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.